This pickle sponsorship brought to you by... Hey, thank you for joining the Escape With Me Book Club. Escape with me, Sam Reiner.
And me, Hannah Rossell.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers. Today we are going to the country and London of England. I don't even think they give a town name, like a fake town name.
Yeah, it didn't give a town name, did they?
They just say the country.
Yeah, I just realized that. Sorry, that's why I laughed. I was like, is there really not a name?
No. She goes to another town and we get a name of that, but we don't get the name of the place where Chimneys is.
How did I not notice that? Sorry, it's totally derailed us. 2 sentences in, my bad.
Published January 24th, 1929, The Seven Dials Mystery is the second book in the Superintendent Battle series and has inspired the newest Netflix adaptation. So what about this book has so captivated the public that a modern interpretation is needed? After almost 100 years, is it still worth the hype? Which we are recording it before it comes out, but it will be coming out after it. Very excited. Yeah, Martin Freeman's going to be in it.
What?
Mm-hmm. Lady Caterham is being played by Helen Bonham Carter. So we got 2 pretty great ones. Yeah, no, the cast looks great.
Is this the first Superintendent Battle adaptation?
No, there was a movie, but forever ago. So it is a little funny because Martin Freeman's not that big of a dude. He's 5'7", so he's an inch taller than me.
I mean, what was the average height in Britain at the time? Maybe 5'7" was like a giant.
No, it's not that long ago. It's less than 100 years.
Yeah, no.
Because they specifically say he's a big guy, so I expect like broad shoulders and running into a brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fine. I'm sure he'll be great. He's great in everything he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how they do it. I feel like they do have to make some pretty big changes just based on the trailer to make it a little bit more dramatic.
Yeah. I mean, there's dramatic moments in the book.
Yeah.
But it doesn't lend itself to being dramatic the entire time.
Yeah.
There are some parts where it's slower paced.
And there's a lot of humor.
Yeah. British humor.
Versus the trailer, which is so very melodramatic.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, based on the trailer, they're going for a much, much more dramatic angle versus the book that has a lot of humor in it, which I think Agatha does a really good job keeping the tone of it, but still having the humor, like having Bundle with her dad or Lady Coot, who seems to be having a much bigger role based on the trailer.
She was a fun character.
She is a fun character, but I can't imagine them getting Helen Bonham Carter and not making her a much bigger deal than the character in the book.
Yeah, no, I feel like they definitely beefed that role up. I want to know who they got to play MacDonald, the gardener. He's so oddly not relevant, but he gets brought up a lot.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
For someone who's not super important to the plot, they're like, oh, MacDonald, the gardener?
So the IMDb page has, I don't see a McDonald's. So normally what we do is we do an Agatha Christie history. We've been doing that with all of our Perot books, but this one is in between 2 Perot books.
Where did she find all the time? Good grief.
We never know. But for our knowledge, so this book came out right after The Blue Train. And then after this book, there were several books between The Blue Train and Peril at End House. But this one was published before the Miss Marple debut, before the Mary Westmacott debut. And then there's a couple of other books, like one-offs or short stories. So this is still pretty early in her career. This is like 1929.
Wow.
So she's done her famous disappearing act, but I don't think she's gotten remarried quite yet. Yeah, she remarried in 1930. So she's about to get married, but she's not there yet. So background on this, I have owned this book for a little bit. I got it at a thrift store. I always try to get the fun little copies from thrift stores. So I have the strangest assortment of these books.
You do?
Yeah, just depending on what I can get and when. But we would not have done this so early if not for the adaptation coming out. But yeah, so Superintendent Battle. I just love this universe that she's created where all of her detectives know each other.
I'm ready for the Miss Marple crossover. When does she come in?
I don't think there is one.
Oh, that's fine.
Or at least for her and Perot. There might be other ones, but And The Meeting, which is apparently a couple of books from now, it's about cards on the table. That is the same book that Poirot meets Colonel Race. Then we meet Superintendent Battles, and this is where we meet the mystery writer Ariadne Oliver, which we found in Halloween Party.
Oh, yeah.
Which we read because the movie was coming out. We have ranted about that in their own episodes, but
yes.
we're meeting another one of her characters in this connected universe. I just love it so much.
Her menagerie.
The menagerie of detectives that she has meet each other. That would just be so much fun. But for this is age level adult only because default. Honestly, the content warnings are pretty light. There is language, PG-13.
Yeah.
There's one word that they see constantly. It's pretty funny, but I think most people consider it pretty tame. Then of course you have murder. There is some mention of blood, and then there is a kidnapping at one point, but like I said, all of it's super tame. She has had way worse in other books.
This was a very tame book compared to
some of the stuff she's pulled before.
Literally everything else we've read, I feel like.
But to judge a book by its cover, I don't know, clocks.
My cover was bizarre, to say the least.
What was your cover?
It's like an open gate with a ominously glowing clock tower in the background. I would have had zero guess what this book was about based on the cover. I'm sending you a screenshot of it because I was just like, who designed this? It was so strange. It looks more like we're going into a haunted house and there's going to be shenanigans afoot.
Oh.
Right?
That feels like an AI cover. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is AI because the footprints.
It's bad.
It's pretty bad. So there's a gateway, there's 2 gas lanterns, the stand-up ones, but then there's 2 tiny handheld gas lanterns on the floor. There's a gate that's opening, except the gate work is really obviously the AI sludge of it can't keep up with its own pattern. Oh, it's just awful. It's breaking in places. It's not consistent.
It's so bad.
The font is lazy as heck. In the background is a clock tower to the left, but it's really thick for no reason whatsoever.
I also think the clock is messed up. Those numbers are not in the right spot.
Oh, the clock is very messed up. Nothing is right about that. But I'm most interested in the path leading up. There's just a bunch of barbell weights on the floor. What are those?
I think they're supposed to be stepping stones, but poorly done.
They are circular stepping stones, quote unquote, but have a hole in the middle of them, and they get smaller as they go to the gate, except they don't actually reach the gate. And then there are footprints. Except the dude apparently only has 1 foot because there's only the left side of the footprints.
He's just hopping. Also, who felt the need to design an AI cover for a book that already has probably several different covers?
So many covers. This one's terrible. Anyway, here's the weird one that I found. When they were describing the mask to you, what did you think?
I literally was just like, it's a clock, and the hands are pointing to their time.
Yeah, but it was a full face thing, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of the official covers, and it has the people around her.
Interesting.
What's basically baseball caps.
I thought they were full face coverings.
So did I. But this one has, like I said, it only covers the eyes. And so you can see everything else. And you can see one of them from the side, and it's very odd.
Yeah, didn't they say, like, he pulled up the mask to reveal his face? Does that not mean it's a full face mask?
Yeah, I don't agree with whoever made that cover.
Wrong. It is incorrect.
But it is not as bad as the AI cover. The AI cover is terrible. Just use one of the thousands of covers you already have. So yeah, the only thing I could think of it with clocks, and this is a very, very modern day issue, when there's clocks involved, there's explosions, right?
Yeah.
You and I know. NCIS, Monk.
If there's a timer, it's a big boom.
Trying to think of all the police procedurals we've watched and the mystery shows and whatever. If there's a clock motif, it's because it's an explosion.
Yeah, I really thought the party was going to be a bomb. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, like one of them were going to blow up or something.
Yeah.
No.
Incorrect.
That is not what we're doing here.
We are too modern in our guesses.
We are. That is a modern day issue with us. But no, it's just alarm clocks. And then a secret society that may be named after a town, but they got a little too into the clock motif.
They were really into it.
As someone who appreciates good marketing, you guys have fallen down the rabbit hole just a little bit.
They really branded. It's like the Wet Bandits from Home Alone.
But that being said, I understand why it eventually became a Superintendent Battles book, but this really should just be Bundle Brent book.
Yeah, Superintendent Battle was such a not main character.
Is this how everyone feels about Poirot? Because he does just go off and do random things and the side characters don't see him for like days or something.
Yeah.
The only thing I could think of was, it's like, this is dealing with detectives, but the detective is not the main character.
Yeah. In the Poirot books, even when he goes away, he's still sort of, oh, we'll have to tell Poirot that, or I wonder what Poirot thinks.
Yeah, but she thought about battles so little.
It's just you're reading, and it's just all of a sudden, and Superintendent Battle, and it's like, oh yeah, that guy.
Literally, I asked at one point in my notes, I'm like, where is this dude?
Is he just working on other stuff, just casually?
Apparently, but not very casually, as we come to find out.
Yeah.
So here's the setup. There's this Sir Oswald Coote. He has new money, and so he's decided to rent a mansion for 2 years, as one does.
Totally normal behavior.
So he's at this place for 2 years. It's like a week before they're giving the house back, and they're having this little party. There are several young women and several young men just hanging out with them. And there's this one guy, Jerry, who's very bad at waking up. And I was like, oh, he's gonna die.
Yeah, oh, it's you. Goodbye, sir.
Anyone where it's like, oh, he hasn't come down yet.
Sleep in so late.
I was honestly surprised when he did show up the first day.
Yeah, I really thought we were just gonna find a dead body.
Sometimes she does that. Sometimes first chapter, we're in it.
Yeah, this one only took 2 chapters, so not too far off for the usual.
Yeah, so all the young people decide to pull a prank on him where they're gonna get all these alarm clocks and put him in his room so he has to wake up.
Which is kind of a funny prank, I'm not gonna lie.
It's not a bad idea, no. But when they do it, he doesn't wake up. You're like, oh.
Heavy sleeper.
Yeah, they're like, he's a really heavy sleeper. And well, I think it was the butler who comes in and he's like, hey, dude dead. He gone.
There's a reason he is not woken up.
But this leads to Bundle Brent, which Agatha keeps giving the women the most bizarre nicknames. And is that common?
Yeah, because her real name's what? Eileen?
Eileen, yeah.
Lady Eileen, and there's like her name's Bundle, and you have Socks.
Yeah, better than Egg.
Egg was, yeah.
Agatha Christie has, in fact, done worse. But I do think about that sometimes. I'm like, was this a really common thing for the time period, or is she just exaggerating?
Yeah, was it based off of something that happened in Bill's childhood?
I don't know how she got it. I just meant the ridiculous nicknames, period.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, so she's back in the house. This whole thing happens and the doctor's like, oh, he either did it himself or he did it by accident. And it's kind of hushed up pretty well. Because he died from an overdose of a sleeping aid. And that's weird because he never needed help to sleep, ever. He was a heavy sleeper. He could get to sleep. It was fine.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. Must be nice. So that's all, quote unquote, taken care of, hushed up. So Lord Carterham and Eileen take possession of the house again. One of the problems being, well, not the problems, one of the things that gets her started in on this is that she realizes that one of her drawers is jammed on her writing desk, and she finds this unfinished letter the day before Jerry died. And it's super vague. So she looks at it, and it basically, all it does is mention this thing called 7 dials.
And there are 7 clocks on the mantle when he died. Or shelf? Mantle? I don't know.
Mantle. They put it on the mantle. There were 8 clocks, but 7 were lined up on the mantle and chucked the other one out the window.
Someone chucked it.
So yes, we are getting a lot of signs for this 7 dials situation. Our other main character, our other narrator, is Jimmy. Hello, Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy.
He is a trust fund baby, but he's friends with all of the people that were at the house because they all work for the Foreign Affairs Office for the government, so he knows all of them. They're kind of freaking out Ronnie, who was one of Jimmy's friends who works at the office, seems to think that Jerry's death was foul play. And Jimmy's like, oh, he'll totally mention that to the doctor, and then he doesn't. So Jimmy's like, something's weird's going on.
Yeah.
So he starts to get involved.
He's suspicious.
He's like, something's going on. Well, the way Bundle really gets drawn in is she's driving to town and a man runs out into the road. She manages to swerve to miss him, but he's still like on the ground. And so she gets him in the car, rushes him to a doctor. He's dead, but it turns out this whole time she thinks she did it. She hit him still somehow. But the doctor reveals, no, he's been shot.
Yeah.
And this whole time she doesn't know who this man is. She's never seen him before. And you get to the police and you realize it's freaking Ronnie that died.
Dead.
My jaw dropped at that.
Yeah, I was like, oh no.
We were what, 50 pages in, and my jaw dropped, and I was like, oh, this is why there's an adaptation of this. Was not expecting that the way it was written, no. I thought it would be another dude leading to Seven Dials, but no, it is specifically Ronnie.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be someone we didn't know, and I was like, oh, hey, I know you.
Yeah, because Ronnie doesn't get a description when you first meet him, and so when she's like, oh, this dude in the road she just describes him, young, pleasant face, small toothbrush, mustache, brown eyes. You're like, that means nothing to me because we didn't know. But yeah, jaw dropped. There were a couple of twists I did not see coming. There was one very specifically I did, and it frustrated me, but we'll get to there. But this one was a good.
Starting off strong.
His last words, though, are basically Seven Dials and Jimmy's name.
Yeah.
And so she's like, holy crap, he wants me to warn Jimmy about the Seven Dials, who, as you learn, have been doing some strange stuff, like sending a local politician a threatening letter from Seven Dials, which is a whole other thing, which is actually how Battles gets involved with this, but we won't know that for several chapters.
He'll show up eventually.
It's fine. So Bundle goes to London, meets Jimmy. I thought Bill was going to die next.
I did too.
Oh my gosh, I have some stuff I totally need to tell you. And she kind of brushes it off because she's doing something else. And she's like, okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I was like, he's going to die.
Yeah, I was really expecting people to keep dying.
Never trust an Agatha Christie book. Oh, I have something to tell you. Let me tell you in person. Or let me tell you later or tomorrow. Or on the phone call in which they are telling you, as has happened. So I thought he was going to die. He did not die at that point, and I was very surprised. Anyway, they decide to team up, but also there's this other girl named Lorraine, who is Jerry's little sister, sort of?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that relationship. It was odd.
I'm very confused. They call them half-siblings, but then they say they're not really siblings.
His dad raised her or something.
His dad raised her, but then later they're like, oh, she has his blood because he was a bad person. So now I don't understand. You know they're okay with cousins marrying at this point, first cousins. So were they okay with half-siblings marrying? Is that what we're seeing here?
I don't know. I just sort of chose to ignore that because I was confused and a little uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
I don't have the brain power to really invest in trying to untangling this.
Yeah, so that is a plot point I'm not 100% clear on. I think they might share a father, but maybe not their mother, and then so they're not siblings? I don't know. That I'm unclear on, like I said. But she and him were very close. And you come to find out Wade wanted to marry her. That close. And she's like 12 years his junior? I don't know. It's a little weird.
I didn't quite figure out how old anybody was in this book. They're all just like a nebulous young adult.
Yeah, it's very vague. They're just young. They're youth.
Yeah.
They're young men and they're youth and they're young ladies. And everyone's just described as young. Young, 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 young.
So it's how young is young.
But I do know that there's that 12-year age gap because when she was 9, Jerry was 21. And he was supposed to go to war, but he went AWOL for 4 years, which never comes up really.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, Jimmy's just like, this dude went AWOL. I bet he went to Germany.
He did go to Germany, that's right.
Because he was so good at German.
I forgot about that. I mean, I didn't forget about the Germany part. I forgot that he went AWOL.
Yeah, Lorraine is upset by his death, obviously. So here's the thing. They're like, yeah, trio, team, awesome. Actually, we changed our mind. Lorraine, don't do anything.
But you might die. Just stay home.
Yeah. Well, she must be a really good actress, considering.
Yeah.
Because Bundle's like, she has this look of, I'm not going to argue with you, but I'm going to go my own way. But you come to find out that she knows way more than you would expect her to know. So that must have been specifically for Bundle's benefit.
Yeah.
To her to be like, oh, you're the gutsy girl that goes after what she wants no matter what anyone says. And so she's just mimicking that. And so she's like, oh yeah, I understand. That's the whole thing. But Bundle does a lot of investigating.
Bundle is the main detective.
Bundle is the main detective. That is very true. She checks with the servants. And at this point, I'm like, did Treadwell did it? Because the butler always did it. He seems like a possibility, but that did not come to fruition. Finds out that there's this dry party hosted by the politician that got the warning note. So Jimmy's going to get through via Bill, and Bundle's going to find her own way through her own family. And at this point, they're like, oh, Lorraine, it would be too hard to get 3 people in. 2 people is suspicious enough. And so I jokingly put, Lorraine will stay home. Narrator, Lorraine did not stay home. She didn't. That is true. And this is the point where she finally goes and sees Battle at Scotland Yard. Because I think it was back with her about to investigate the servants when I was like, where is he? Poirot has been introduced late before, but it doesn't feel like not his book, And that is kind of how this one feels in a way, but it works out.
Yeah, it was kind of disorienting.
A little bit. He does end up being the one that solves the case, but yeah, Bundle is kind of the main character. Jimmy has chapters, but I feel like Bundle has way more.
Yeah, I feel like this was Bundle and Friends.
Bundle and Friends. Oh, that sounds like a children's Saturday cartoon with puppets.
It does.
But yeah, they keep alluding to this case 4 years ago that took place on Bundle's property that Superintendent Battles was involved in, and so was the politician, which makes me wonder if that was the first book.
Yeah, I was wondering. I didn't know if you would know or not.
Which makes me wonder, let's see. I meant to look it up before, but I finished an hour ago. So the first one of his is The Secret of Chimneys, which I think is pretty self-explanatory. It's a 1925 novel, so before she disappeared, where there's a murder and there's a treasure hunt for secret letters. But yes, Bundle is a character in that book, and George Lomax is also the one that calls Superintendent Battles into that book as well. So yes, they keep referencing the first book in the series.
Way more than happens, I feel like, in Poirot books.
Oh, yeah. At first, I thought it would be relevant, and then I realized, oh, they're referring to the first book, I bet. They are. He doesn't really give much help, except at one point, he's like, oh, you should talk to Bill. He'll know everything about the 7 dials. And knowing what we know now.
Meddling.
Dang. You come to find out Bill is part of the secret society. So, yeah, I think he knows a lot about it, actually.
He just knows a little bit.
It's just a little hint. He might know something. Why would he know something? He's kind of I don't know. She doesn't think very highly of him, honestly. A bit of a git. And he's like, no.
It's just so funny considering what happens.
Yeah. Battle says, no, you should totally talk to him. And I think it's very funny in hindsight.
I also think Battle knew about some feelings, and he was like, I'm going to set these 2 up.
He's like, Poirot.
Yeah.
That's what they talk about during cards, is all the people they've set up.
Yes, not quite as obvious as Poirot, but he totally, I feel like, at least had that on his mind.
Yes, I think I agree with you, because I feel like he does. But
Agatha Christie may not write romances, but
I think it's so funny that she's like, I don't have a romantic interest for my detectives because I think the romantic interests are all boring. Anyway, let me set up all of these other characters.
Yeah.
It could have been that's what was expected out of the book, so that's why she did it. But I don't know. It just happens like every book, basically. So Bill introduces her to the 7 Dial Club, which, like I said, knowing what we know, it's kind of crazy that he does.
Yeah.
But maybe they were vying for her she gets an invitation to join at the end, so maybe this was some sort of initiation?
Maybe.
Or he knew she was gonna find out about this somehow, and so he had to like go ahead and be like, hey, this is a thing?
Maybe.
I have so many thoughts in retrospect. They go to the club, they dance, she looks around. She sees a dude that used to be a footman at the mansion.
Yeah, and she's like, that's weird.
Why did you leave? When did this happen?
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, I got a lot of money, and so I came over here, which fair.
Yeah.
Eventually you find out he was offered £100 right on the spot, and then 3 times his current wages to work at the club.
I mean, yeah, who can blame him, honestly?
Yeah, and £100 in 1929 money is roughly £5,541 today.
Wow.
Which equates to $7,429 US.
I, too, would highly consider pursuing a new career opportunity.
Yeah, getting 3 times your salary on top of that.
And a crazy sign-on bonus?
And a crazy sign-on bonus. So that means he was replaced by this other guy, which claims to be Swiss, but Bundle's pretty sure he's supposed to be German. And so now he's suspicious because come to find out, this party that's being thrown is kind of centered around this German inventor. And you eventually come to find out that he's managed a technology that can make steel cords just as strong as steel bars. And so especially in aviation, that would be a huge help.
Yes.
With his patent. And he tried to sell it to the German government, but at the time there was a flaw and they were mean about it.
And he was like, you're never getting my secret recipe.
Yeah, he was like, as soon as this is fixed, which he did fix it, I'm going to sell it to somewhere else. So it looks like he's selling to the English government. He's using Oswald Coote to test it, to be sure, because he's an iron magnate. And it works, apparently, and so they're supposed to have this conversation about selling it, basically, how much money he's going to get. And Bundle does something really cool, honestly. Bundle sneaks into their secret room, finds a cupboard, and is like, I'm gonna hide it here and watch what's going on. And so this is how she learns that Seven Dials Club is 7 people. Number 7 is the leader, and he's absent, and apparently most of the members don't even know who he is. And then number 2 is AWOL, and so she thinks it's the servant. And here's the thing that really frustrates me. She drilled a eye hole into the cabinet, got into the cabinet, stood there for hours. Literally, when she gets out, she can barely walk, and she's like, I need to sit down. But she watches, and so the person that has their back to her is a woman. And for whatever reason, all the other ones they call by number, but they keep specifically saying her name is Anna.
Maybe it's because she was going to be using that name in the party, so they were trying to get her used to it. That was sort of how I rationalized that choice.
Could be. So they keep saying her name is Anna, and you're like, okay, her name's Anna. And then they run through the guest list for this party, and what do you know? There's an Anna Radsky, and so you're immediate, and then they make a huge deal about, oh, you're about to play such an important role in the party scene, and they even clap for her, but Bundle doesn't realize that she's the Countess.
Yeah, as soon as it was mentioned like that, I was like, oh, she's gonna be the Countess.
Yeah.
And then I was like, Bundle, girl, get it together.
It's pretty bad. It's really frustrating. And there is a part of me that wonders if Agatha did it on purpose, had her main characters ignore something really, really obvious, so that the reader is lulled into a sense of security almost. And I suspected Pongo. And the more they're like, I don't suspect him, and oh, he's acting so weird, the more I suspected Pongo because of the whole Anna situation. So it could have been done on purpose, but my argument is even if it was painful to read. It was awful.
And she finally realized it when she saw the mole or something, didn't she? She eventually figured it out.
She saw a mole on her back by happenstance.
Yeah.
And then she peels it together. And I'm just, how can you be be so smart and so dumb. Goodness. So what ends up happening at the house is, at the party, nothing interesting until the night.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Bill are taking shifts, so Jimmy's going to take the first shift, but he thinks he hears suspicious things, and so he goes and investigates, and immediately I was like, okay, so that's getting stolen because you got away from your post. You're terrible at this. Goes to the library, has a confrontation with a burglar, gets shot in the end. Casual getting shot, you know.
Normal night shenanigans.
The other thing are Bundle finds out that the Countess didn't sleep in her bed, and this is like 2 o'clock in the morning. And then Lorraine snuck onto the property. A package was dropped at her feet. She picks it up and runs straight into battle. Oh, turns out that's the formula, and that the burglar was trying to get it. But oh, look, they've managed to stop it. And they go back, and Jimmy's passed out. Oh no, poor thing. It must be the blood loss. They bring him back to life. They found the Countess passed out behind a screen in the library, claiming that she needed to look for books because she was breathless or whatever, and she passed out when the gunshots went off. She's been so freaking suspicious this whole time, and it's so frustrating.
Yes.
After dinner, Bundle and Lady Coot get together, and they're talking about mumps. And they're like, oh, mumps are so terrible. And she's like, what? What are mumps? And they explained it to it, and it's like, okay, maybe there's a vocabulary difference.
Yeah.
Maybe she's thinking of the Hungarian word and she doesn't know the English word for it or whatever. But then they're like, oh, how many Hungarian children died to that? And she's like, why would I know? And she's literally, her whole role is
the health and wellness of Hungarian children.
She was a rich widow who was widowed really early, and so she has a lot of money, and she has dedicated her life to the public service of others, specifically children's mortality rates.
Yeah, and then they mentioned when they ask about Hungary, Bundle knows she just sounds like she's a record.
Yeah, and so she's like, oh, shouldn't you know that because of mortality rates? And she's like, I can tell you about Hungarian children's mortality rates. And then she goes into, to this diatribe, this practice speech that she gives them. And then later on, someone says, oh, something about the garden. She's like, oh, I wish I had a really nice garden, which doesn't make sense because she's a rich widow. She should have a manicured lawn. And here's the thing, later on in the book, she's like, oh, I messed up while I was making that lawn comment. And I'm like, no, girl, you messed up with the mumps. You're just really good at storytelling. That Lady Coot forgot about it. I don't think Bundle forgot about it. So yeah, she's been just so suspicious. Whatever. So weird.
Lots of suspicious characters.
Yeah. Here's the thing. So that all happened at the house. So I did manage to guess the culprit in the end.
Better than me. It made sense in retrospect, but I also wasn't trying to figure it out. But
so I definitely thought Pongo was involved. I thought he was number 7. But that being said, and I don't know if it's just English mannerisms, but even before the party, like Bundle rings Jimmy and they share their news, and then she goes to the 7 Dial Club and does whatever. Jimmy's part of this is he's taking Lorraine out to dinner. And this is the part where I was like, it's him, isn't it? His 2 friends just died. And what is this? A week later? Not even a week later, he's taking out one of his friend's sisters on a date.
And has feelings for her.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really, really sus that he did that. And so I was suspicious of him.
That is sus, yeah.
And him getting shot did let me off the gas a little bit. But I don't know. I was really suspicious of him. Here's the thing. I thought what was going to end up happening is they were 2 separate crimes.
Oh.
There was Jerry's murder, and then there's the 7 Dials trying to get this invention. Because the whole time they're doing the theft, they drug a dude to sleep, but not to kill him. And so clearly they have restraint, and they don't actually ever seem to murder anyone. And so I thought, okay, so Pongo's number 7. He's just trying to get rich. But then Jerry's murder was actually Jimmy, and maybe it was to get his sister. Maybe there was this other motive that we don't know about, but he somehow knew about the 7 Dials and was framing them. I don't know. There was just something really weird about him being so nonchalant about Lorraine after his friend died. It's just weird. And anytime there's a murder of someone, he doesn't take it that hard. Not even in a, oh my gosh, I'm a young man. They were young men. I could die.
Yeah.
He just seems so overconfident the entire time.
He's very assured that he's not gonna die.
Mm-hmm. And why? Because he's a murderer.
Yeah. He knows because he's the murderer. He's the one in charge of it.
Heck yeah. So that was my thoughts. So I ended up being half correct. But can we talk about how Agatha Christie loves to fourth wall break? There are several times in the book where Agatha pulls this only happens in books.
Yes.
This only happens in detective novels. Well, it can happen in real life too. I guess it can. Every time. Every time I'm just looking at her like, we're self-aware. The characters have been given consciousness. But yeah, they go down this completely different track where they think the new footman, Bauer, is number 2 and he's the killer. I mean, he was sent there by the Seven Dials to do the murdering. What's crazy to me, though, is so the party happens, right? And the way the book is structured, I would assume that would be the climax. But it's not. It's like halfway through the book.
Yeah, that happened. And I was like, we're not done?
Yeah, it showed up, and I was like, I'm only like 120 pages in to a 265-page book. Don't listen to Goodreads. I have no idea what version has 325 pages, but that is a lie.
That's crazy.
They're never accurate because I never know what version.
I don't even look at the page counts at Goodreads anymore.
Yeah. They're pretty good with modern books, but especially older books, I feel like. I'm like, I don't even know what version you're thinking about. But I was really surprised by that. So I'm like, what do we fill our time with? The theft has been thwarted. That was the main thing that they seemed to be about. They were going to get rich, which now if you look back on it, knowing what you realize they weren't saying we're going to get rich. They were just like, someone would get rich by doing this, and they probably would think it's worth killing for. And you're like, oh, miscommunication. A little bit. They didn't realize they were communicating, but
Yeah.
But the robber wore gloves and threw a gun from the terrace. They escaped by going back into the house. They tried to burn their glove for some reason. And Bauer is missing. So they're convinced, oh, it was this dude. He tried to break in and managed to do it, but he didn't get the formula, obviously, because, oh, thank heavens, Lorianne was there and she ran off and ran into Superintendent Battles. Stares at fourth wall. So Bundle ended up going back to Chimney with her father, and Lorianne hangs out there for a week.
And then
freaking George
Cotters,
this dude that's like a year, 2 years younger than her father. He has hated Bundle for basically no reason,
and he doesn't seem like a very pleasant gentleman.
No, he doesn't. No one seems to like him, especially the people that work for him. She was just childish, I guess, in his view.
I mean, she was literally a child, but
true. But to get into the party, she had to pretend that she was suddenly really interested in politics. And so he looked at that growth and he decided, yes, love it. Let's marry it. And so no provocation whatsoever.
So weird. Ugh.
And especially him talking about how much he will appreciate her youth and his ability to mold her. Gross.
Jimmy, I need you to come back and do some more work.
So this dude's like, hey, can I ask your daughter to marry him? And the dad is like, oh yeah, you should make a fool of yourself all on your own. Go ahead. Bundle's father makes me laugh every single time, especially with how deprecating their humor can be about him. He just takes it in stride. I kind of love it.
He seems like such a fun guy, for being honest.
Yes. So that happens, which I think is pretty hilarious. Anyway, Bill shows up, he hears about it, he gets freaked out, he decides to go to Jimmy instead, and you find out, oh, Ronnie's solicitors gave them a letter to send to Bill a fortnight after a sudden death. And so he shows up to Jimmy and he's like, I've got a letter. And Jimmy's like, what's in the letter? Bundle was freaking out because she just got proposed to.
Yeah. She's like, I didn't even know how to respond.
I know. Speaking of, Jimmy proposed to Lorraine.
And she's like, no, wait for everything to be over.
Which seems weird until you realize what they're on about. And then they're like, oh,
It all makes sense.
It all makes sense now because she's basically like, we're still in danger because of number 7. And so Jimmy vows to find number 7. And you're like, okay, I kind of get it because they've been murdering people and maybe they know too much. But it was weird that they didn't want to get married yet. But if you, in hindsight, look back on it and, oh, they're the perpetrators, they're the bad ones. Of course they need to get rid of number 7 because then they could be exposed for their evil deeds because clearly Seven Dials is working against them. That makes a lot more sense. Why you would need to get that wrapped up before you could get married. But yeah, we don't get to know what that's about. Jimmy just calls Bundle and Lorraine and is like, hey, can you come to the club? Which, by the way, I'm completely skipping over Jimmy staying with the Coots for a second time. Not important. A lot of red herrings, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
He thinks Oswald is the number 7, but he's not. Anyway, come down to the club. So they come down to the club, and he's like, okay, Bill, keep watch for a little bit. And then they go inside.
But he yells it out the door, and you don't see Bill.
Yeah, so do the thing, comes inside. They go up to the secret room, and for whatever reason, Jimmy's like, oh, we should bring Bill in so he can help me move all these glasses, because it kind of looks like they're going to sneak into there and try to view another meeting. And he's like, okay, we can just go get Bill. We don't need a lookout anymore.
Weird.
Yeah, I was immediately like, why?
Why do you suddenly not need a lookout anymore? What do you mean?
Yeah, that's very suspicious. And so I was very suspicious of that.
Jimmy, why are you being so weird?
Lorianne. I keep thinking Lorraine, and that's not it. Or maybe it is. Do you think it's Lorraine or Lorianne?
I read it as Lorraine.
I think I read it as Lorraine as well, but I kept thinking that it was just my dyslexia acting up.
I just kept reading it as Lorraine, so I may be wrong, I may be right. Who knows?
It could also be one of those situations where it depends on where you are. But Lorraine goes out to tell Bill. She runs back in. Oh my goodness, he's dead. Stop. So they go out to the car and they find out that he's passed out. And they're like, oh, someone could have been.
That's not good.
That's not good, but he's not dead, I swear. He's just, passed out. I bet somebody asked for the time and injected him.
Yeah, because they had someone at the house that had been injected.
Yeah, so that's suspicious. They get him inside. Jimmy makes this big to-do about, oh, I need to go get a doctor for him. You guys stay here, and here's my gun. And then Lorraine being like, oh no, I left my purse upstairs. I need you to go get it, Bundle. Which I was suspicious of that too.
Because they are so freaked out, and she's like, can you go get my purse? I was like, what?
Yeah, she's like, oh, I'm so afraid. I keep hearing things that don't exist. Can you leave me and go get my purse?
Yeah.
But also her purse being there, like, yeah, I get it. You could have forgotten it, but...
But she also has a gun in her purse, so maybe that's why she was...
Yeah.
Supposedly, before you know what we know now...
Yeah.
You're like, well, maybe she wants her gun. Which also just cracks me up, like, you could just go to the department store and buy a gun.
Yeah, gun safety in this book flabbergasts me.
Gun safety who?
There's a reason that we have laws we have today, because dumb people like this doing things. She has a gun, and she's asked, hey, have you ever shot it before? No. Then you shouldn't have a gun, okay?
Yeah, Battle's like, I'll teach you.
I'm an American Southern woman, okay? Number 1, if you don't know how to shoot a gun, you should not hold a gun. That's the first thing you need to do is learn how the heck to shoot and gun safety and so many other things because you're just going to cause a bigger problem, especially in a situation like this.
Yeah.
Where you could get yourself or others killed.
Yeah.
Because you're holding a gun. It's so frustrating.
They're so blasé about stuff.
Well, yeah, because, laws haven't caught up.
Yeah, there's a reason we have those laws now, though.
I know, there are so many things where you're like, that's stupid, and then you hear the reason the law became a thing, you're like, oh, no, we're stupid. Humanity is stupid.
Yep.
Whatever. She goes up there, and she gets hit over the head with a sandbag, but thankfully it doesn't kill her.
Yeah, they're trying to kill her.
They were trying to kill her, but she's A, wearing a hat, and B, the person that did it is injured and had like half strength. So she did not die, but it ends up, she wakes up and Bill's like proclaiming his love to her.
Right? And you're like, hold up.
Which is actually a very cute scene.
It was very cute, but also kind of surprising.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're both kind of locked up in the room, and she thinks it's Seven Dials doing, and this Russian dude that owns the club and is number 6 comes in, and Bill's like, I think we should talk man to man. He's like, okay, and takes Bundle to some super random location, and is like, stay here, and then they talk, and then he comes back, and he's like, hey, you should come to an emergency meeting of the Seven Dials. And she gets down there, and they're like, hey, do you want to be number 2?
And she's like, what?
No, I don't want to be number 2. You should wait to make that decision before you know what we're doing. I think I know what you're about. And it's like, no, you don't. And I come to find out, this one did blow my brain. Number 7 is Battle. Is the superintendent, is the police officer with Scotland Yard.
And this is like a spying society, I guess?
Oh my goodness. So let me try to say this as quickly as I can, because a lot of revelations happen right now. He introduces the rest of the crew, who are barely important. The important things here is Bill is number 3, Ronnie was number 2, and Jerry was number 1. They ended up replacing number 1 with this actress friend of Bill's, who takes on the role as Anna. And they haven't replaced number 2 yet, and they offer it to Bundle, obviously. And so they created this society because Jerry specifically realized that there's this really dangerous person who keeps stealing inventions and selling them, and that the only way to bring them down was basically to create this super secret society with Battle included and catch him red-handed, which they end up doing.
Yeah.
Come to find out, they arrested Jimmy.
Yeah, and you're just like, what? Like I said, it made sense looking back, but I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I still was expecting Pongo to be involved somehow. He was a complete red herring, though. But yeah, was not expecting that, in that he was stealing the inventions. I didn't realize he was involved in that, because like I said, I thought it was separate. But he was using his insider information with having friends from the Foreign Affairs office to get all this stuff to be able to steal these inventions and sell them. Because even though he's a trust fund boy, his dad did not leave him very much money, and he has been living exorbitantly. So that's how he's getting his money. And it turns out Lorraine is just madly devoted to Jimmy, even before their quote-unquote first meeting. So they were working together, and she was getting information from George about the Seven Dials and that whole thing, and about him getting really close to finding Jimmy, basically. And so that's how he knew that Jerry was kind of onto him.
Yeah.
And then he figured out that Ronnie was onto him.
So in a way, Lorraine betrayed her own brother?
Oh yeah, she did.
Okay, girl.
Because she was playing on his affections. He wanted to marry her. She was playing on that to get insider information. And that's kind of what the letter was alluding to, where she's like, oh no, I was totally joking about the Seven Dials. But Jimmy realizes that Ronnie suspects him, and so he kills Ronnie by shooting him. They eventually get it labeled as a death by misadventure.
Yeah, just as kids out practicing their shooting, you know, they don't really shoot right.
Would you come to find out, the Seven Dials were very specifically spreading that rumor, and so that's why you think, oh, they did it.
Yeah.
But actually, it was Battle's, and he mentions this later on, Battle's strategy of wait until you can get the big fish. Like, let the small things go and let them think that they're free, because they will lead you to the bigger things.
Yes.
So the really fun turnaround, because there's always like Agatha Christie turnarounds where you're like, oh, I made an assumption. I shouldn't have done that. Ronnie's dying words were actually warning the Seven Dials about Jimmy and not the other way around, which is how Bundle took it.
Yeah.
And Ronnie's the one that left the 7 o'clock message, not to warn the others to be afraid or whatever.
But to warn Jimmy.
But to warn the killer and be like, hey, Seven Dials is going to take their revenge about this.
And it makes sense looking back because Jimmy is so caught up.
Obsessed with that.
Yeah, the fact that there's 7 clocks, and you're like, why is he so on that? And you're like, oh.
Because who did it? And it makes sense because Ronnie goes and sees Wade's dead body, and he comes out, and he's like, hey, Jimmy, have you seen him? Jimmy says no. And Ronnie makes a specific point. Well, I think everyone should, because it's a matter of respect. And so he had just done the clock thing And then at the point, he wasn't completely sure who did it, but he was like, hey, I'm going to see everyone's reactions to it. And so he was very specifically being like, hey, go look at the clocks. Let me see your reaction. So Lorraine didn't happen to be there at the perfect time to get the package to run away. That was thoroughly planned. Jimmy's the one who snuck into the room, dropped it down, and Lorraine took it and ran, and she was supposed to leave the property, but she ran into Battle.
Literally ran into him.
Literally. And what could she do at that point? She had to give her little story and like, oh my goodness, thank heaven we saved this thing. And Jimmy's the one that climbed up the ivy into the window, climbed back down, made a whole scene so Lorraine could get away, and shot himself.
Yeah.
In the quote-unquote fleshy part of the arm. And so that's why Battle walked up and is like, he shouldn't pass out from this.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. He had 2 guns. So the one that he made a very big deal about, and then another secret gun.
He named that gun.
Yeah, Leopold.
Leopold, thank you. I knew it started with an L.
And so he shot from Leopold to be like, oh yeah, I shot at him. But he had a left glove that he used for another gun to shoot himself, and then he throws the glove into the fire grate to be burned and throws the gun out the window to be found by someone else thinking that this dude was running away. He makes the whole scene, like it's a whole thing. Maybe Jimmy should be an actor.
Maybe that's his plan.
And the Countess, who was trying to keep watch herself, was in the library, and so she was there when all of that went down, and so she witnessed everything. And there was a moment where she was like, oh, he went so quiet, I thought he left the room, because he did. And the whole club situation at the very end, Bill was supposed to be the 3rd victim, but Bill was wise to him and ends up not drinking the thing, but pretends to be asleep. And then Bundle was going to be the 4th victim, and just leave it there for number 7 to see, which is very vindictive.
Yeah.
Later, Battle is like, I don't feel bad that he's going to be hanged. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty messed up. I don't think that's rehabilitative.
Yeah, probably not.
This dude even set up a golfing alibi.
Yeah.
Which is the most we have heard about golf since like the 2nd book, and even then, we did not hear about golf this much.
He is unwell.
No, not great. He's the one who hit her over the head, and then dragged Bill up the stairs and put them in the room to be surprised. But Battle was always one step ahead of him, and he solved the mystery. The end. Oh, and also Bundle and Bill are gonna get married. The end, the end.
Yeah.
The last chapter is 2 pages.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's so funny. Since I was reading mine on Kindle, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. It was pretty funny. It was just 2 pages, and she's basically like, hey, I'm getting married. And her dad's like, oh no, not George. Just not George. Bill. Okay, yeah, I like Bill.
Yeah.
General thoughts. If this book series, I don't know about the other 3, but if all 4 of them have Bundle as the main character,
it could be a lot of fun.
This might be my favorite little series. There's no Hastings. I mean, we are missing some of Perot, but she's pretty great.
I want a Bundle and Poirot book. Can you imagine the 2 of them together?
Let's see, book 3 and 4. Features in book 1 and 2. In book 3, which is Cards on the Table, he joins with the other 3. And then the 4th one seems to hint there's a guy that's implied to be the son of the now retired Battle. But yeah, it seems like, oh, this is where, I mean, we haven't read the first one, but this is where we will say goodbye to her.
Oh, maybe she comes up in another book.
Yeah, she's pretty great. Yeah, I don't see her in book 4 or 5. And then we know she's not on Cards on the Table. So, alas, we must say goodbye.
Goodbye. She's off to be a married lady.
Sort of now. Yeah, her storyline has been complete. Agatha can't give her anything more. That's how all of the women get written out of this series, is they just get married and it's like, all right, bye.
Into their life.
Can't be adventurous anymore. Sorry, bye.
It's not allowed.
But I really enjoyed it. I really liked her as a main character. She was fun. Jimmy was pretty okay as a main character too. I think both of their perspectives were pretty good. The lack of Battle surprised me, but I was glad in the end that he's the one who solved it, because supposedly he's the detective. She did a lot of legwork.
Yeah.
And so she proved herself, but she just needs some of that experience, some of that refinement. And I think she'll get that as number 2. I'm curious if that secret society ever gets brought up ever again.
Yeah.
That she just became number 2 on, but who knows? It's pretty good. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, but yeah, that Anna plot line, whether it was on purpose or not, it was just grating and annoying that they couldn't figure out, that she can't figure out. Hooray, Anna, you're gonna do such a good job. Did you know there is an Anna on the list? Nope, we have to figure out by mole. I can't. To Witch Battles is like, oh, a lot of people have moles. Thanks.
I would have never guessed.
So, one question for the author. I really need mass clarifications.
Yeah, I have so many questions now.
Having seen the artwork on who knows what edition, I just need to know what those masks look like in her mind, because the ones on that book cover are stupid, and you should definitely recognize people.
Yeah.
They barely cover the eyes.
So mine wasn't, and maybe we've asked this question in a previous podcast and I just don't remember. That's totally possible. But I want to know why she's writing mysteries. Why not another genre? What made her gravitate towards mysteries specifically? And I know it's not book specific, but why mysteries? Why not any other genre? I mean, glad she wrote mysteries. She was great at it. But what?
We did learn that she branched out with that Mary Westmacott, but why did she start in mysteries?
Yeah, and seemed to prefer them.
Very good at them.
Yeah.
Rating for this, I would give it the clock ticking out of 10, because it can be good, it can be exciting, you can be moving towards something you really like, or it could be a little dreadful sometimes when you hear it and you're like, oh no, either it's moving too fast or it's moving too slow for whatever the situation is. And that's kind of how I felt. There were a lot of times it was exciting and moving forward and I was very cool with it, but that Anna situation was annoying. There was a couple other chapters where it just felt like it dragged on a little bit. So this is definitely by no means a perfect book, but I definitely think for the movie, for the pacing, they have to cut out the funny stuff. They have to cut out the whimsical, the very bland investigations sometimes. Oh, she goes and talks to the servants. Oh, there's a bunch of new people that will never be brought up ever again.
Yeah.
That happened quite a few times because we're too busy being an action series or an action book instead of a mystery book. So I definitely think we're going to see a tone shift. I think it's going to be more serious, which I'm not mad about. I think it'll have better pacing in the end.
Yeah, definitely a fun shift from the Poirot. And then, like I said, I think the pacing and then Netflix, if they do it right, will be really good.
Yeah.
So, sort of similar to yours, I gave it a TikTok out of 10. Not like that, but just the scene where they had all the clocks in Jerry's bedroom. For some reason, my brain was like, Captain Hook would hate this.
Captain Hook would hate it.
Yes, because the alligator swallowed a clock. It was always hunting him. Don't ask me how my brain made that connection.
That is so funny.
Because they talk about how loud 8 clocks are.
Yeah, that would be insane.
So
at one point, they were like, oh, I'll put him under his bed before he goes to bed. And they're like,
he'll notice that.
That ticking is going to be so freaking loud. And if you don't understand, if you've never been around antique clocks, I have. My grandfather collected them.
So loud.
I have one. The ticking is very audible. And then some of the ones that he had that were older, they just so loud. And so even this little portable one would be nightmarish. And so they end up being like, okay, he has to be asleep. And then we put them in.
So no deep meaning behind my rating. Your rating had a lot of thought. Mine was just like, Captain Hook would hate this. TikTok out of 10.
Read again. Yes, I really want to read it again to look for clues and look at everything that she placed down. Because now I'm viewing this novel in a very different way. So that's why I would say yes to a reread. I would want to get all the little bits, but if I had all of the Agatha Christie books on the shelf and I had free time, this isn't necessarily the one I would pick up.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd reread this one. It was a fun read, but it wasn't one that'd be like, oh, I'd love to read that again. Like, so much fun. Sort of like, oh, it was a good book. We're moving on.
Yeah, you think you got what you need from it?
Yeah. Maybe if I read the first book and I would read like 1 and 2 again.
Oh, that makes sense.
but I wouldn't just pick it up and be like, I have time, I'm gonna read this book.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first one I picked up, but Bundle's pretty great. It's not my least favorite Agatha Christie book by any means. I'd probably give it a pretty solid A rank, but not an S rank.
Yeah.
And she has so many S rank, you might as well read an S rank.
Yeah, and I think I just got so used to reading the Poirot books too.
It's a completely different vibe.
Yeah, it was just a little disorienting at first, I think. If I had read Battle before Poirot, I think it would have been fine. But I'm so used to how she paces and how Poirot is written.
Yeah, so I do want to give her props to that. The voice of Bundle is completely different than anything we've seen in the Poirot series. So she does a really good job of having different voices for different characters for different books. I feel like if you picked up a Battle book versus you picked up a Poirot book versus a Miss Marple, you can tell.
Yes, it's not just, I'm reading the same book, but with a different narrator.
Yeah, so that definitely adds to her creative genius that everyone loves to point out.
So it was a fun read. It was a very short read.
Very quick. But have you read this book? Are you the type of person that actually gets up when their alarm clock goes off? Are you a unicorn? Or are you a normal person and you hit snooze at least once? Do you have any book recommendations for us? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you liked the video, hit like. And if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thank you for exploring the Seven Dials mystery with us. Join us next time when we'll be covering a Twisted Tales anthology by a whole lot of writers. A bunch of them.
I can't believe you guys are still doing that.
Oh, we're catching up, getting there. I'm Sam Reiner.
And I'm Hannah Rossell.
And we hope to see you and a friend here next time. Escape With Me Book Club is a Lyra Skulk production. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok to keep up to date with us. Lunar_SKULK.